Hi and welcome to today's devotional. My name is Jenny Sasson and I'm one of the pastors here at the Vineyard. It's so good to be with all of you today. Last week, if you might remember, I was sharing one of my reckless faith stories, and that was the moment I said yes to what Jesus asked me then, which was to learn a new language. I speak Spanish and English is my second language. That was one. And the second was to say yes to a man that proposed me to be his wife, and when he did not speak Spanish and I did not speak English. We both were learning this new territory, but God was faithful, and we had given a promise through this prophetic word that God has given us, that we were meant to be for each other and that God was going to use us for his glory. So if you missed that story, you can go back and watch that video later. But today I would like to share about another reckless faith story for me, and that was the moment I said yes to God's calling to serve as the pastor of the Hispanic Ministry here at the Vineyard. So back in 2011, my husband and I moved from Honduras. We were living there for a couple of years, and then we moved to Cincinnati to start a family. And we started attending the Vineyard in 2011 and serving in different capacities and outreach here and there. And then in 2014, there was an opening for a job, and I remember going through the weekly program and reading that, and just I used to engage with the community, Spanish community too. I used to volunteer, but I remember God speaking to my heart about applying for this job. And then I was going through all the requirements and all this stuff, and I'm like, no, that's not for me. And God give me a sign that this is for me. And I remember God speaking through all sources, through the word, through friends, through everybody. And but within my heart, I was a little bit fearful. I'm like, I don't know if I've got what it takes. But as I dig deeper, and I was just looking at this job description, I realized that God had prepared me for such a time as that, and for such a time as this. And I just realized in talking with my husband and finding wisdom, and we talk about all those things, and I realized, okay, God, I'm just going to apply for this job. I went through the whole hiring process and all these interviews and this and that. And then, well, as you might be guessing, I got the job. I've been here for over half a decade, 6 years now in August, and it's been a blessing. But what opened that door, remember, I didn't speak English. I had been serving God for many, many years. And I felt like, oh gosh, well, you probably, I've got what it takes to do this, because you have been equipping me and giving me everything that I need to be able to serve. But sometimes, we have to pivot in just make some changes, especially when we set our minds for certain things. I've told you before that my background is as a TV and radio host and producer, and coming to Cincinnati, I thought, okay, I'm going to pursue something in that career. But then God was asking me to apply for this job in ministry, and I'm like, well, God, is that you, or just that my inner voice? But it was God speaking to my heart. It was this lady saying yes to what God was asking me to do, to move in faith in a very unknown territory. So we are going through all this, difficult time, the pandemic. Many of you might have lost your job, and God might be asking you to make some changes and adjustments, and God might be speaking directly to your heart about what decisions you need to make in order to be obedient and pursue the calling God has given you, and the assignment God has given you. So I hope you are encouraged. So 2014, I simply say, well, Lord, I'm going to say yes. And we started with this site or campus, and as the lead pastor of this ministry, God gave me grace and favor. And I'm grateful for that, because sometimes we can feel like I don't got what it takes, but God is then encouraging us to say, yes, I have equipped you. I have placed the gifts in you. I have placed everything that you need. And we need to believe. We simply need to partner with God. I encourage you today to partner with God. That's the only thing that we need to do. We need to come before Him and say, God, okay, you are asking me to do this. All right, I will do it. Let's partner together. Equip me, give me grace, give me favor, open doors, and give me grace and everything that I need to pursue whatever you are asking me to do. And just like Philippians 4:13, and I love this scripture, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I want you to repeat that out loud, whatever you're watching from. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So He's your strength, He's your rock, and God has great things in store for you. So don't be discouraged because you are facing change. Don't be discouraged. Simply say, okay, God, continue to pour out onto me so that I can fulfill the assignment you have for me. So I hope you can just come before God and be encouraged and ask Him questions and say, God, what do you want me to do? And also be willing to do, even when in doubt, even when in fear, be willing to do whatever God is asking you to do. I can guarantee you that God is going to back you up, and God will just bring about everything to sustain you. You know, He will call you, and if He's calling you, He will sustain you. He will not leave you alone. So trust Him today. I encourage you to trust Him, to believe in Him, and to believe in the gifts God has placed in your life. I want you to know that I believe in you, that I believe in the gifts God has placed in your heart, and that you've got what it takes to do the very thing God is asking you to do. I say a blessing over your life, and I just pray open doors before you, and I just pray grace, favor upon your life in the same way God has placed grace and favor upon my life, so that you can pursue God's dream for you and your loved ones. God bless you.